I can't wait. I can't wait for everybody to find out what's really been going on.
Things start coming to fruition to where you targeted certain people in that interview, and now you're seeing, I don't want to even say downfall, but you're seeing that target that you put on people's back.
So, Jaguar Wright recently released an interview, and she has absolutely gone in on Diddy.
Why does it all come to a head now? Why now? Why?
Because he's the acceptable monster at this time, like R. Kelly was waiting. He was waiting for Kim. Remember? He was waiting. The casket was ready.
It goes without saying that Diddy will not be very happy about this.
Any views on Usher? Because a lot of things have come back to where
Usher.
they talk about his...
Usher, I'm tired of Usher.
Oh, okay.
Goofy bitch.
No.
Got your asshole ripped open.
I mean, Jaguar is now speaking like a woman vindicated.
Diddy settling within 24 hours, which has never been heard of, 30 million, or the lawsuit was 30, undisclosed amount. But
he knew for 30 days that shit was fitting to happen.
Back in November, the New York Times said that Cassie Ventura, whose real name is Cassandra Ventura, sued Diddy because she was in a cycle of abuse, violence, and S*X trafficking. The claim said that the Last Night singer forced Ventura to regularly drink and do drugs, have sexual encounters with male prostitutes while Diddy filmed them, and physically assault her, often in front of business partners. On November 17th, at Pragmatism14 posted on X to share a video of Jaguar Wright talking about how worried she was about Diddy's behavior. She seemed to imply that Combs had something to do with more than one death. It was last year that she talked to Real Life Productions and said, Uptown Records started with 5 people, Andre Harrell, Al B. Sure, Heavy D, and Puffy Diddy and Kim Porter, was the longest working employee. She was there from the very beginning. She was Andre's personal assistant. Kim is dead, Heavy D is dead, Andre Harrell is dead. The only 2 left are Puffy and Al almost died. Isn't that interesting? Wright said more. You want to know what they all had in common, though? The survivors and the late of Uptown Records? They were all writing tell-all books. Has Puffy ever been in a coma? Has anything happened to him? He must be the luckiest mother ******, because it seems like everybody that worked at Uptown Records from the very beginning are gone. Just him. At the same time, Wright not only thought that Diddy was involved in many deaths, but he also thought that something must have been wrong with his relationship with Cassie for her to leave him. Wright said that Diddy was giving Cassandra $500,000 a month before he dropped her down. Wright was on Real Life Productions and said, "Why would you quit? What the F*****K is going on that $250,000 isn't enough? What the F*****K is going on in that relationship that $250K ain't enough? That's gotta be some dark ****, T." Jaguar Wright also said that Diddy had followed and watched people. The death of Deputy LA County Coroner Ed Winter has become news because Diddy is getting bad press on the internet. The police officer in question is said to have looked into the death of model Kim Porter, who was also the mother of Diddy's children. A lot of people now think that the rapper had something to do with his death. On top of that, the artist is being sued for this. Cassandra and Jaguar also said that Diddy made her regularly drink and do drugs. There were also claims that the singer would make Cassie have S***X with male prostitutes while filming them. The death of Diddy's baby's mother, Kim Porter, was one of the things that people looked into when the news spread. Someone on the internet, along with Kim's ex-husband and rapper Al B. Sure, seemed to say that Diddy was responsible for the death. Netizens now think that Diddy may have had something to do with the death of Ed Winter, who was meant to be looking into Porter's death. Reports from TMZ on March 19th said that Winter had died naturally at home in Los Angeles. He died when he was 72 years old. He looked into the deaths of many famous people, such as Whitney Houston, Michael Jackson, Brittany Murphy, Tom Petty, Corey Haim, and others. A video of rapper Jaguar Wright also having doubts about Diddy in a 2019 interview became popular online not long ago. Wright also said that several important people from Uptown Records had died, such as Andre Harrell, Heavy D, and Kim Porter. She also said that Al B. Sure was no longer conscious. Wright thought that Diddy was responsible for all the deaths, and Al B. Sure's hospitalization because he was the only well-known person in the company who had not been sick. This is what she said in the interview. "Has Puffy Diddy ever been in a coma? Has anything happened to him? He must be the luckiest mother asterisk cur because it seems like everybody that worked at Uptown Records from the very beginning are gone. Just him." Jaguar Wright has always been critical of Diddy's past. So let's have a look at it. Sean Combs was born to throw parties and could work any place. When Diddy talked to hedge fund manager Ray Dalio in 2019, he showed a huge desire to learn and asked his mentor for job advice. "I don't want to make the most money. I want to be known for giving the most money away." During his loud return to music last year, he stopped by New York's Power 105.1's The Breakfast Club and served alcohol, talked about faith, and made quick pause jokes. It was normal for Combs, who used to be an altar boy and is now an entrepreneur, for the spiritual and sexual to be so close to each other. His work is full of examples of these and other strange contrasts. While investigations into his businesses and morals caused a lot of trouble in the 1990s and early 2000s, his business power grew. He put on a friendly, silly front to counteract his bad press, which always went against his attempts to make things better. Combs is now facing multiple accusations of horrible violence and sex trafficking that span several decades of his career. He also has to deal with FBI raids on his home. This makes it clear how much of his public character may have been a planned lie to save face. As a child, the Harlem native went through a lot of hard times. His father was killed in 1972 while working with notorious drug lord Frank Lucas, and his mother had to work extra hours to make ends meet. "One day, we woke up," the 54-year-old explained last year on Apple Music's Love Radio with Diddy. "And there were so many roaches on my face, and I was like, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to be somebody." Combs was known as Puff because of his short temper, which also helped him build his hip-hop business. He made a name for himself by planning events at Howard University and went to New York to meet Uptown Records founder Andre Harrell. However, the relationship between the two fell apart as the intern's ambitions to become an executive grew. This led to a split between Combs and Uptown, which made it possible for Puff Daddy and the Notorious Big to start Bad Boy Records in 1993. It was a big blow to Combs' life and label when Biggie was killed in 1997. It also caused a short but powerful reevaluation of how common violence is in hip-hop. It was Diddy's dancing through pain while singing "I'll Be Missing You" at the MTV VMAs in 1997 that made us feel better. Fans came together with him in their sadness and paid less attention to who was responsible for the violent rap feud that killed Biggie and Tupac. With the release of his clothing line, Sean John, at the end of the 1990s, Diddy began his dangerous rise as an entrepreneur, just like Jay-Z. They both started small businesses that were successful at marketing a rapper's cool to the masses, just like Run DMC did with their love of Adidas, which led to the first sneaker deal in music history. Fans could buy a cheaper version of Combs' well-known silk tracksuit from his fashion line, Sean John, while he stayed out of high-profile cases. The truth is that some people like it when a big name in hip-hop acts like a crime boss, just like they like it when rappers fight like gladiators. In the early 1990s, Vanilla Ice said that Suge Knight, the founder of Death Row Records, hit him on a balcony. In 1999, Jay-Z was accused of stabbing Lance Rivera, an executive in the rap industry. The hip-hop community saw these claims as proof that both men would do anything to get what they wanted in a business relationship. This is our dance with Diddy, who was a major force in hip-hop's rise to fame and business legitimacy from the 1990s to the 2000s. Along with his long list of romantic hit songs, he has been involved in a number of shocking crimes and done amazing things to fix his image that people thought were impossible. He didn't want to give the idea that he was Knight's opposite, and the tricks he used to stay in charge of the story were very interesting. "I felt like I disappointed the hip-hop community," Combs told MTV's Kurt Loder in 1999, after allegedly beating Nas's former manager Steve Stout with a champagne bottle and a telephone. He continued, Because everything I do, I'm trying to be a team player and taking hip-hop to the next level. At first, he denied the charges, but later he admitted to a lesser charge of abuse and was sent to an anger management program for 1 day. A day after Christmas, 3 people were hurt in a shooting at a bar. Before the end of the year, Combs, his then-girlfriend Jennifer Lopez, and bad boy rapper Shine were all in jail. The charges against Lopez were dropped. Combs was found not guilty of gun possession and bribery charges, even though prosecutors said he wanted his bodyguard to take his gun. Shine spent most of the 2000s in jail before being sent back to Belize in 2009. His lawyers were there to secure a not guilty verdict by any means, Shine said in 2022 on Drink Champs, the radio show of Queens rapper Noor that was a big part of Diddy's Revolt network. They saw me as the enemy because he's a $100 million company. Combs gave up the name Puff Daddy after the trial. In 2001, when Puff switched to P. Diddy, it caused a change in public opinion. He got rid of the boss look of his early music videos by golfing in the suburbs in Bad Boy for Life. At first, he planned to come back with a gospel album 3 years before R. Kelly released You Saved Me, which was meant to fix his spiritual image. Both of his talent shows, Making the Band and Making His Band, showed that he was a tough taskmaster, but also had a good eye and ear for a successful singing group. In 2001, Diddy joked that Bill Clinton would show up at an event to change his name. By 2004, he was telling his fans to vote or die. He tried to be everything a well-rounded man should be in the 21st century and catered to the tastes of politically aware youth from the Bush years. This made Combs seem like a respectable old man as he turned his attention from record and song charts to plays for the boardroom. He had become a symbol for the hopes and dreams of a whole generation of black artists. If this dreamer from the city could sell soul food, clothes, singles, vodka, and movies, then anyone who came after him could do anything. Trying to fit in Diddy's image worked because people who liked his goals needed the hero. Bad boy signees like Ma Dollar E, Craig Mack, Total, and Shine had short-lived success. But that didn't hurt the label head's image for developing talent. The fact that he kept bringing in new artists didn't raise enough red flags. Cassie Ventura is an R&B singer from Connecticut, whom Combs met in the 2000s while she was working on her first album with singer-songwriter and producer Ryan Leslie. We never stopped hearing crazy rumors about her and often thought something was going on with her. Ventura put out an album called Me and You in 2006, and then to someone who didn't know more, she seemed to quickly start traveling the world with Diddy, which hurt her singing career. Ventura filed a lawsuit this fall because of the Adult Survivors Act in New York State. This law lets people sue after the normal time limit has passed. What Ventura says is scarier than any of the years of careless stories on gossip sites and forums about the couple, that they were hurt and embarrassed badly, even though Diddy was making fun of them on Jimmy Kimmel Live and The Ellen DeGeneres Show. It's hard to believe that Diddy is living 2 lives at the same time. Diddy has rejected everything she said. Kid Cudi, a rapper, confirmed Ventura's claim that Diddy blew up his car after a reported fight over Ventura. In 2012, rumors about this fight made the news. The generation that grew up on standards like Uptown and Bad Boy dealt with such problems by making fun of them. They saw Cassie as a musical fad who had an uncanny ability to control the stronger men around her. A reminder that settling her lawsuit in one business day is in no way an admission of wrongdoing should make people think about how powerful people are in hip-hop and how the people around them are just pawns in a struggle to advance culture. Ventura sued under New York's Adult Survivors Act, which gave victims a 1-year window to sue institutions and people they thought sexually abused them, even if the time limit had passed. The window shut in November. She says they met for the first time in 2005 when she was 19 and he was 37. In the lawsuit, she says that Combs had access to and controlled almost every part of her life, including her job and medical information. He abused her physically multiple times a year, and she says he often gave her copious amounts of drugs. In the complaint, Ventura also says that Combs made her have sex with male sex workers in different places, which she says he watched, masturbated to, and recorded. The singer says she didn't call the cops because she was afraid it would just give Mr. Combs another reason to hurt her. She also says that Combs broke into her apartment after a dinner in 2018 and raped her while she repeatedly said no and tried to push him away. Ventura says that after that, she broke up with him for good. In her case, she talked about several people who saw the abuse happen. An open letter to Combs from her friend, singer-songwriter Tiffany Red, about an event at Ventura's 29th birthday party in 2015 was one of them. Both Ventura and Red say that Combs and his security team made Ventura leave that night because he wanted her to sleep with other guys. Red said that Ventura had told her at the time that Combs was hurting people physically. She wrote, "I feel compelled to show up for Cassie and myself and confirm that everything she described in her complaint about what happened that night is consistent with what I experienced." After the settlement, Liza Gardner turned in a claim on November 23rd, just days before the Adult Survivors Act ran out. She says that she and a friend met Combs and singer-songwriter Aaron Hall at an event put on by MCA Records in 1990 or 1991. After the party, they went back to Hall's place, where Gardner says she was offered more drinks and was coerced into having sex with Combs. She says that Combs also hit her friend. According to the case, Gardner was shocked and traumatized by the event. As she was getting dressed, Hall is said to have barged into the room, pinned her down, and forced her to have sex with him. After a few days, Gardner says Combs attacked her again when he went to the house she shared with her friend. He went to the friend's house to find her because he was afraid she would tell the girl he was with at the time, according to the suit. Joy Dickerson Neal says in a different lawsuit filed the same day that she reluctantly went on a date with Combs in 1991 and that after dinner he intentionally drugged her and sexually assaulted her. She says that Combs filmed the attack and shared the video with other people. Even though Dickerson Neal didn't call the police right away after the claimed assault, she says she did file a report with police in New York and New Jersey, but she didn't say which agencies. In her complaint, she says that prosecutors told her that they would have to prove her claims, but she thinks that possible witnesses were terrified that Combs would retaliate against them and that they would lose future business and music opportunities if they made a statement that supported her story. The two women's claims were called fabricated by a Diddy spokesman, who also said the women were abusing the Adult Survivors Act. A fourth lawsuit was filed on December 6th by a woman named Jane Doe. It claimed that Combs, his longtime lieutenant Harve Pierre, and a third unnamed attacker raped her at Combs' recording studio in Manhattan in 2003, when she was 17 years old. Also suing Pierre is a former assistant who says he used his position of authority as the plaintiff's boss to groom, exploit, and sexually assault her several times between 2016 and 2017. Pierre used to be president of Combs' Bad Boy Entertainment. According to the case, the men took Doe across state lines on a private jet from Detroit to New York City, drugged and drank her until she couldn't say no, and then beat her up when she told them to stop. There are also pictures in the lawsuit that Doe says were taken at the studio that night, including one of her sitting on Combs' lap. Diddy's string of cases is different from R. Kelly's because it feeds an ongoing moral panic. R. Kelly's relationship with young girls was pretty well known for more than a decade before it became kind of uncool to play his music outside. People who are always looking for logs from Jeffrey Epstein's island and who watch a lot of true crime shows are fascinated by stories about bad things that happen at secret parties. Hip-hop fans who aren't afraid to say bad things about LGBTQ people just existing aren't standing up for Lil Rod, a musician hired to work on Diddy's 2023 comeback album, The Love Album Off the Grid. In a shocking lawsuit filed in February, Rod accuses Combs of covering up a shooting and a pattern of same-sex assault, which Diddy denies. It says that Rodney Lil Rod Jones worked on Combs' most recent record, Love, and that he lived with Combs from September 2022 to November 2023. Jones says that Mr. Combs constantly groped and touched his anus without his permission and without asking. The lawsuit says that Jones woke up naked and confused in bed with Combs and two sex workers one time. He says the music mogul gave him drugs. The complaint also says that Jones secured hundreds of hours of footage and audio recordings of Mr. Combs, his staff, and his guests engaging in serious illegal activity while working as Combs' videographer. The lawsuit says that the defendant did illegal things like getting drugs, hiring sex workers, giving laced drinks to children, and sexual assault. Jones's lawsuit also names Combs' son Justin as a suspect, as well as Combs' chief of staff, Christina Coram, Universal Music Group CEO Sir Lucian Grange, and Ethiopia Habtemariam, who used to be CEO of Motown Records. Sean Hawley, Combs' lawyer, rejected Jones's claims. She told people, "We have overwhelming, indisputable proof that his claims are lies." In April, a different lawsuit was brought against Combs' son, Christian Combs. The woman who made it said that the 26-year-old raped and sexually assaulted her on a yacht that the music mogul rented in December 2022. Combs is also named as a defendant in the suit. Grace O'Marca's lawsuit said that the rapper helped and abetted his son's crime and that he is responsible as the person who rented the boat. She worked as a steward on the boat and said she saw celebrities partying and using drugs, as well as a constant rotation of suspected sex workers. It's a bad joke that No Diddy takes back the meaning of the name from a man who has changed it many times over the years, turning it into a new version of the pause game. It does two things at once. It makes horrible abuse claims against yaks more credible while making queer hip-hop fans feel like they aren't like everyone else by bringing back a glimpse of the openly homophobic culture of the 20th century when slurs and cruel speech were more common. It's a crude non-solution that triggers the grossest humor response in a large group of people. The way it's presented shows how the business can't give a clear response to the worst news. This decade's hip-hop press has been destroyed by people who spread false information. The only thing that seems to be coming close to a reevaluation of Diddy in the short term is the flood of jokes about his possible homosexuality that are going around among everyone from Zoomer streamer king Kai Cenat to longtime enemies 50 Cent and Ma Dollar E. When people are accused of sex trafficking, the scene is full of puns. Of course, this is still a game for powerful people who are accused of abusing their partners. In this situation, accusations of domestic abuse and sexual assault don't stop people from asking to be in features or going to festivals. The most important thing is the fun you give people. What the FBI is looking for, why his sons were handcuffed, and the sexual assault charge against Christian King Combs are all hard to guess. It's also hard to guess what people will do with all the music Diddy will touch if he goes to prison. It's either time to let go of the idea of the all-knowing, unflappable business magnate while its stock continues to fall, or we can party and lie our way through this time, thinking we got rid of some bad apples, only to be shocked when it happens again in 5 years. It's funny to make fun of how sexy Diddy's parties are now that it's socially acceptable to do so, but it doesn't change the fact that many people would walk through fire for an offer not too long ago. The draw is the desire to blame someone without destroying the systems that allow power abuses to happen. Diddy's lifestyle business seems to be falling apart. Partnerships with companies like Revolt and Hulu, which were working on a reality show with the Combs family, are falling apart like space junk coming back into Earth's atmosphere. Dissociation for fear and healing is a light that burns hot and clean. These quick moves, along with the high-profile fights within the industry involving people who used to work with Diddy but are now caught up in a web of suspicion and false information, like Meek Mill and Young Miami of the City Girls, show that the industry is mostly concerned with repairing the damage, getting rid of extra baggage, and moving on to the future. We can't keep doing things the same way, though, because that would teach the next generation to find humor in sex crimes and enjoy thinking about conspiracies. Supporting survivors can't become a competition over whose abusers made the most popular songs. We can't select whose abuse we're ready to buy. Rich men shouldn't be able to treat everyone nearby like property. Hip-hop is 50 years old and knows it. There is no hit song that is worth insulting and hurting another person. Meanwhile, Harlem rapper Travel G. Depp Coleman, who used to work with Sean Diddy Combs, is coming out about the many sex trafficking claims against the mogul. Coleman, who is 49 years old, was found guilty of second-degree murder in 2012, but was freed last year. "I've got a lot of songs, bro. I'm looking for you, so we could get, some type of musical situation going. He was signed to Diddy's Bad Boy Records before he was found guilty. His most famous hits are Special Delivery and Let's Get It. A lot of Diddy's friends and family haven't said anything about the case, but G. Depp says he's ready to work. Lisa Evers of Fox 5 NY talked to the rapper, who said he has papers with more than 400 songs he wrote while he was in jail. New York Governor Kathy Hochul released Travel G. Depp Coleman after he admitted to a murder that had been unsolved for almost 20 years in 2010. Coleman was in jail for 13 years for a 15-year-to-life sentence. He is now married and has 3 kids. He wants to get his job back on track and make a better future for his family. To see him, Diddy, in the studio at work was amazing. He said that he spent a lot of time with Diddy and never saw any of the bad behavior that was alleged in the case. And I'm like, when did that happen? We were in the studio for months on end with each other. G. Depp said that the late hip-hop artist Black Rob hired him and signed him to Bad Boy Records. Diddy worked with him for months to train and grow as an artist. He said Diddy was a hands-on producer who was involved in making hit songs and even worked on the soundboards himself. Coleman said, "There is what people say and what is proven in court. He knows the investigation is important. People should, give people, the benefit of the doubt," he stated. "People can say anything. He is just one of the few people coming out in support of Diddy. Do you think we will see more as time passes? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe."